Previously on One Tree Hill.
Greetings, Starfighters. Welcome to Mad Science Films. I'm Jimmy P, filmmaker and sexual astronaut. First up, guys, please check out our fourth feature film for free. Now on YouTube, just search for Little Monster or click on the link in the show notes below. This episode, I'm joined by a very special guest, the madman himself behind Fractured Visions, the film night, Fractured Visions, the film festival, and Fractured Visions now, the distributor, Mr. Phillip Escott. Dealing with like newer filmmakers then and everything like that. Luz, how did that film get on your radar?
Yeah, so it came through the festival, which was another sort of a blessing with having the festival, is I get sent all these films from new emerging filmmakers that some labels just won't go near because they're new filmmakers. So there's a risk involved with that. And so yeah, Juan Diego, he's very much a physical media guy. He loves his physical, and yeah, we worked together on it. He's one of the reasons why it looks so damn good, to be honest. I mean, he was a big part of the design in the booklets, the whole package, really signed off on everything. So he's a big part of why it looks so good. And that's a good thing, because having that sort of input from filmmakers really is a blessing, because I'm like, I don't want to fuck this up. This film's his baby, you know?
Yeah.
I just come along and just shit out this release, hurt his feelings, and that's the last thing I want to do, because he's such a lovely guy. so with the older films,
yeah,
it's easier to manage because you don't have the investment from the filmmakers. You just got to please the fans, which is a lot easier than having to please the fans and the filmmaker.
Yeah. So let's stick with Luz then as an example. It got on your radar. It was a submission to the festival.
Yeah.
Did you, like, before it even screened at the festival, kind of get in contact and go, have you got distribution plans for this? Are you interested in distribution? How did that kind of progress to, you know, the amazing disc that we see today?
Yeah, so the festival, when that came through, distribution was kind of like a goalpost that I saw in a couple of years' time. But then lockdown happened, and I found myself with a lot of free time. I kind of sped things up a bit.
Yeah.
And I was and ahhing because Shudder were on the defense about whether they were going to acquire the film, like, in total. So it took a while for that to all sort itself out. So they took SVOD, which freed up the physical and the regular VOD. So yeah, when that all came to fruition, it was like, yeah, jump on it, let's do it. This deserves a wider release than Shudder, and Juan Diego agreed, and yeah, it all came together within a couple of months.
What is the deal in terms of that you offer filmmakers, you know, for films that already haven't had the, you know, distribution? Is it profit share? Is it MGs? What are we looking at with that?
Yeah, so profit share, mostly because a lot of these films have been snapped up for SVOD already. So that's the majority of the money they'll see is via that. But with a rev share, it's a win-win for them, as the film's already out, they've got some money off it. And for us then, it's just a 50-50 down the middle. Like, I'm open and honest with them. I'll say, this is how much it'll cost. We can do this if you want. We can save some money here if you want. So I give them a full sign-off on how much is spent. And yeah, so everything is agreed with the filmmaker, and they see everything, like down to the detail of, like, copy protection on the disc, like pence. I mean, the pennies here.
Yeah.
And yeah. So the older films are the ones that tend to get an MG, but even those, they're not big bucks these days. Like, you always got the sales agents coming in saying, we want $25,000 for this territory. It's like, it's a first-time director, it's got no cast, no one's going to give you that money.
Yeah.
So it takes a while for deals to be brokered. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm here because I've been shafted as a filmmaker. I'm trying to eradicate that sort of danger.
Yeah.
And so, as you say, you don't know how much it hurts until you get fucked. So yeah, I'm trying to take some of that stress away from filmmakers.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing. I think we said this off camera, but yeah, until you've been fucked, you don't know it. And yeah, I think, you know, as a filmmaker, to now also being a distributor, that's amazing. And I think, you know, most filmmakers would actually really respect distributors if they've been through it themselves. How large do the print runs tend to be? Do you have like a set number, or is it really on a film by film basis?
Yeah, it's on film by film basis at the moment,
Mm.
but I've already fucked up because Luz. I should have done a few more thousand of Luz, I think, because I thought the stories that you were told by other labels would be there's not much of a market for foreign language contemporary films in the collector's market. But I think that's just because no one's putting them out. And clearly there is, as Luz sold out before he went to street. So thinking myself, as I should have done a few more. But I'm actually working on the standard edition right now. So that will hopefully be out in November as well. So yeah, we'll see. So that will be just monitor the pre-orders, and if the demand is matching what was there for the limited, yeah, we'll bump it up by a couple of thousand. But yeah, it's the science is the older films should sell more, so we'll do more of them. Yeah. But Luz just thrown a spanner in the works and kind of proved that wrong already.
That's a good problem to have, though. It's a good problem to have, rather than like have your flat filled with thousands of Blu-ray. You can't
boxes and boxes of Blu-rays. Yeah.
So out of the two problems, it's one of the better problems to have. So how big was the Luz Collector's Edition run?
Yeah, there's only 1,000 of those.
Ah, interesting.
So yeah, I guess the scarcity model kind of works, but I think I made it too scarce.
And so with Sergio's film, how what was the print run on that?
That was 3,000.
Right. Okay. And did you manage to sell all of that, or was there still?
No, we're over half gone, but the license on that is 7 years, whereas Luz only had it for 4 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I can justify 3,000 because hopefully over 7 years I will sell those off. But with Luz, it's like, we got a shorter window of time to get rid of them.
And in terms of then like suppliers for the Blu-ray, the booklets, the cases, and everything else, what was this like a first-time job for you? Did you have any advice from people, or was it again learning by making mistakes? Or
for the artwork?
For the actual physical package, so the unit itself.
All right. No, luckily I'd taken a hit with silent action, because that's where mistakes were made. As the reason that got delayed was the printer forgot to put the booklets in the actual sets. So they sent us all the units. I opened one up. There appears to be no booklet in here. One off, surely. Opened another one. There's not one in here either. So emailed them. They're like, crap. Yeah, we've got all the booklets here. So I had to send them. Everyone had to reopen them, put them in, reseal them. And so, yeah, I was keen for that not to happen again. So, yes, luckily that didn't happen with Luz, but they ran out of paper.
So you went with different suppliers for Luz then?
No, same suppliers. So
suppliers.
The way I see it, they fucked up once. They won't do it again. So give them the benefit of the doubt, and they didn't.
Good stuff.
And it'll be a challenge November. That'll be the real test for them, because there'll be 2 releases. There's freehand and the standard edition of Luz. So there's twice the potential for things to go wrong. So if they coast through this, then yeah, I'll stay with them. They're my people. Yeah, if they mess up, might look elsewhere.
What's your profit margin on that per unit, if you like?
It all varies, because you got to give a discount to physical retailers. So HMV will get a 32% reduction. So they buy it for you at a lower price and then sell it on at a higher price. So, and that goes for Amazon as well, obviously. So yeah, it can all vary, to be honest with you. So don't really know until the money comes in.
So as a film fan, the best thing we can do to kind of help Frack Viz keep going is order from you guys directly.
That's correct, yeah.
Nice, yeah. And then slip you an extra tenner here or there as well.
That'd be nice, yeah. Buy me a coffee.
If a new filmmaker loves what you're doing, are you in the market for submissions, or is it a no submissions policy at the moment for you guys?
Yeah, so I'm hard to reach in that regard, though, just because everything comes through the festival and I like it that way. But no, I am actually looking for new material, and I've got a few flagged already, and I'm in negotiations with a few filmmakers at the moment for some new films next year. So yeah, the easiest way is to submit it through the festival.
Nice.
Guarantee to be seen then.
Nice. Yeah, I love how it's all linked up. You've got like a nice is that a model you've pinched from elsewhere, or is this, again, from, trial and error, and it works for you?
No, it's just kind of how it's evolved. So it's kind of evolved as I have. So it started off with just doing events in Cardiff, expanded that to the festival, and then expanded that into the distribution. So yeah, it's not really based on a rhyme or reason. It's just, I'm just going to do this now and then set it up. And it's kind of all synchronized quite well.
Is there a type of film you're looking for? Necessarily a genre, or is it entirely free for all for you?
So no, it is mostly genre, but genre is quite broad. So it could be, horror, action, thriller. No romantic comedies though.
Nah.
No. That's where I draw the line.
What should filmmakers make sure that they've already got in place before they get in contact with a distributor?
All your paperwork. So yes, your contracts and your T's and C's. Make sure those I's are dots and those T's are crossed.
Yeah, nice. Is deliverables as well? Is that something that there's a industry standard that Fractviz follow along with as well, or is that a conversation to be had with the filmmaker?
Yeah, well, it's mostly standard now. So it'd be a ProRes, and then your surround sound, stems. So it's, that's just industry wide now these days.
Do you deal with aggregates, or is it, again, you'd much rather deal with the filmmaker direct through the festival process?
So with myself, I negotiate with aggregators. So depending on the rights I have. So for Bigfoot Hunters, which is another festival acquisition, I have all rights for that. So I'm negotiating some TV deals at the moment, hopefully, which will be great for the filmmakers, as we got turned down by a fair few people. And ironically now, some of those people have come back asking if they could license it from me.
Really?
It's like, okay. Why didn't you just get it before me?
Is Fractured Visions the distributor kind of Fractured Visions ultimate form, or is there a next step beyond that then?
There could be. I am thinking of doing soundtracks. So it again be the physical spaces where I see things. But yeah, at the minute, I'm trying to fully grasp my head around the film side of things.
Yeah.
But no, if there is going to be a next step, it'd be into music.
I mean, I suppose I'm also ignoring, the found footage phenomenon. Was that under Fractured Visions, the production company, or was that?
It was indeed, yes. So
Great.
That was another just happy circumstances. I was working on that during lockdown, just as the time as we incorporated, and it's like, should we do a production side now?
I again, it's brilliant because it's a brand, and when that logo pops up, and again, for me, putting the loose disc in and firing up the Blu-ray, and it was like, welcome back, guys. It's good to see you again. So,
thanks, mate.
I love it. And Luke is running a podcast alongside Fractured Listens. Is that right?
That's the one, mate. Yep. So he's working on the Michael Berryman episode at the moment, because during lockdown he was gung ho with the poor guy. He's like, I want to do an episode a week. And I was, dude, just calm down. Like, do one a month. He's like, no, one a week. But he's still cracking on. Hopefully that will be continuing on, and once a month now, so he can actually manage his life and not be running around after this podcast.
I think all we need now then, Phil, is Fractured Visions, the magazine,
Oh, true that.
Make it happen.
Watch this space.
So any more plans for Fractured Visions, the production arm? Is there anything else that you guys are looking into that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I do have 2 features in development at the moment with a couple of local filmmakers. One is Chris Crow, the guy who did Panic Button and The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is moving along. And again, it's because the distribution world has opened up some doors that weren't there as a filmmaker. It's kind of exploiting them with my producer hat on as well as my distributor hat on.
I mean, that's a really interesting position that you're in. As you in theory, you could be the full supply chain.
I could.
Is that something that you're, I suppose, going back to, is that going to be the ultimate goal then, is as Fractured Visions, the distributor, becomes so well known, you fulfill every part of that process. Is that what you're hoping, kind of the end goal is?
That'd be a
The
dream, sure. But
Yeah.
to be honest, I think that would be biting off more than I can chew. Because thinking of just what goes into the wider like film finance world, as well as the distribution world, yeah, I think that would be one too many hats. But the producing side, I like it because it takes some of the distress away from purely being a distributor and vice versa. So when an actor is a distributor, I don't have the worries and the woes that a producer would have. And then vice versa, when I'm producing, I don't have to worry about the distribution side. But as I was in the back, so I can navigate and make sure that wherever this film goes, the receiving end is going to be like, everything's nice and done. The paperwork's all here. Everything is A-OK. But trying to do it all would be a bit too much.
Yeah. No, I get that. So as the producer, you would be seeking traditional distribution routes if that suited the project, and that seemed to work out best.
Yeah, so it all depends on the project, really. Like the found footage phenomenon was always designed as a vehicle for a streaming platform.
Right, yeah.
And so, the other projects are feature films, but again, they micro budget in a sense that, well, not micro budget, but low budget in the traditional sense, as in under $500,000, which is a lot of money to us, right?
Yeah.
But for platforms like Netflix, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So so some of the films I'm developing are aimed, ironically, at streamers, which goes completely against the physical side of things. But I think that's where I'm lucky in the sense that I can navigate and decide where a project goes. Because some of these films might be perfect for physical media, and I can retain the rights if that comes to fruition. But a lot of the bigger companies who are financing films now are sub-licensing to other labels on some of their larger films as well. So it's a bit of a strange market at the moment. So no one really knows what's going on.
Yeah,
and luckily I joined at the right time because I have no idea either.
Nobody knows nothing.
Yes.
So there you go. Never been sure. I mean, it goes back to something you were saying about Lewis, about the fact that, like SVOD was already tied up, but regular VOD and Blu-ray, that was free for the pickings. Yeah. I mean, for a filmmaker, that can be great, in terms of, you've got all these different avenues that will potentially get completely different audiences. For a distributor, how is that for you guys, having to kind of navigate all of that? Is that okay? Is that part of it, or is that an extra ball ache?
Yeah, it can be, because obviously, well, streamers now, they've caught on a bit, so they're taking all rights. So they'll have the whole package, and then someone like Shudder now have an output deal with a company called Acorn. So any of their originals come out via a label called Acorn. But previously, you might be able to negotiate a deal with the filmmakers to take the rights. But if they do sub-license like Shudder, they're going to be asking way more money than the filmmaker would. So it will make the physical side of things a bit more difficult going forward. But it's great for the filmmaker because they're going to get more money up front via any sort of deal with a streamer.
Yeah.
So again, it's project by project. Depends on where the filmmaker is on it. So if he wants money, then he'll just sign everything over to the biggest company, which makes sense. But if they're fucked up like us and think, I really want a physical release, they might think it needs to be physical. And then if Shudder's saying, well, we don't feel it will do well on physical, they might be able to take less money but reserve those rights.
I think most filmmakers, I mean, not all, but I think most filmmakers, especially like us, we do want that physical release, don't we still?
Yeah, we're part of that generation, I guess.
Yeah.
Could be dying out soon, but
I think you're right.
We know 35 years left, I think, maybe in physical media, so milk it for as long as we can.
Yeah, it always disturbs me when I meet other filmmakers who, as you say, they're a bit younger, and they're like, I don't even have a DVD player. I'm like, what?
Sinner.
Just they're completely reliant on streaming. I'm like, but streaming doesn't have everything.
Exactly. And how do you get your education?
Yeah. Phil, thank you so much for joining us this week, man. And
it's my
your
pleasure, mate.
Precious time. Clearly, you've got a lot on your plate, mate. And I look forward to picking at whatever scraps that you give us mere mortals going forward. But I really encourage any film fan or filmmaker to check out the Fractured Visions releases, check out the film festivals. If you're local or you can get to Cardiff, come along to the film nights. Absolute treat for film fans. And I'm making my way through the Luz disc at the moment, which again is like film school. So yeah, hats off to you guys. You are doing amazing work. And Phil, keep it up, man. And yeah, I want to catch up with you again if possible in a year. Well, let's not leave it as long as we left it last time, but in a year. And hopefully, yeah, you're on the next, evolution of Fractured Visions, the VR experience, maybe.
Yeah, who knows, man? Video games. Fuck it.
Yeah, video games. Is that something which holds your interest at all?